This monologue depicts images of people riding La Bestia, otherwise known as the Beast, from Mexico to the United States. La Bestia is actually a network of trains that runs the length of Mexico, from its southernmost border with Guatemala north to the United States. Often La Bestia is also referred to as El Tren de la Muerte, or the Death Train. These trains carry grain and scrap metal to the United States, along with many undocumented immigrants. It is estimated that as many as 500,000 immigrants now ride the Beast each year. The riders sit back to back along the spine of the train cars. The trains are usually packed to maximum capacity with immigrants making the journey, which can take anywhere from several weeks to several months. Most of the people making this dangerous 1,450-mile trip are not from Mexico, but Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras. Many riders suffer physical injuries while on La Bestia, or even fall to their deaths. However, the promise of a better life makes the journey worth the risk. Economic hardship, drug violence, threats, and extortion are pushing immigrants to leave their homeland to come to the United States. Many of the riders are children. In fact, it was estimated that in 2014 that 60,000 undocumented children were detained by the United States Border Patrol. In 2016, approximately 400,000 total undocumented immigrants entered America. The most dangerous part of the journey is entering the United States because of the heightened security. Now coyotes bring immigrants through more dangerous and isolated territories, and the cartels have taken over most of the smuggling. Many do not finish the journey to America and opt instead to stay in Mexico. Although it is dangerous, the economy is thriving, and most can get jobs. The family in this picture is riding on top of La Bestia, the Beast, which is a train many Central American refugees and migrants ride to reach the U.S. border. The ride is extremely dangerous, and many riders have fallen to their deaths or have lost limbs after falling. This mother sits with her husband and 2 small children, not knowing what their fate will be. The train is pulling away from the station, headed north. It carries with it the hopes of over 100 people who are wishing for a better and safer life. This conversation takes place between the father and the mother on the train. The father says, "Hey, Mommy, I heard the next leg of the trip is pretty. Lots of trees and flowers. Was that woman you were talking to back there Honduran?" The mother answers, "No, she wasn't. You still have the piece of paper with Tio Raul's name on it, right? I want to look at it again later to make sure I've memorized it." The father answers, "Don't worry, my love. I will never forget that number. I know it as well as I know your birthday." Mommy answers, "I know, but what if something happens to you? Where would we go if I can't find him?" Father says, "I'm not leaving you, and we are going to get through this together." The worried mother's thoughts. She nods and looks at her husband, so strong and so sure of himself. If only she could be so confident. Most of the time when she sleeps now, she has nightmares of getting separated from her family, of getting raped by one of the men who have been eyeing her, or of passing out because she is too dehydrated. She thinks to herself, "My back hurts, and I'm hungry. We only have a few more bananas in our backpack, and then what will I feed my babies? Maybe a generous person will see us along the way and take pity on us, or maybe someone will steal our last few tortillas while we try to sleep. I'm so tired. But if I fall asleep while my husband and children sleep, who will pull them back if they start to slide toward the edge? What if the police catch us and send us home? I don't know if I can take hearing my babies cry in the middle of the night, and when they wake up to the sound of gunshots, or worse, being afraid to walk down the street to buy bread or milk. The gangs have taken over the neighborhood, and we don't have enough money to move. We can't go back home. We need a new home." And the father thinks, "I hope this trip was the right thing to do. My babies are too young to be on this beast, but I couldn't let them stay where we were. My mother thinks we're crazy for trying to reach the United States. She has heard so many horror stories about families heading for the States, never to be heard from again. I can't imagine never being able to see her again if we make it, but I had no choice. This trip has been hard, but staying would have been harder. I can't make enough money to feed my family unless I want to join one of the cartels. I would rather die. The photographer of the picture is thinking about them as he snaps shots. That family looks so close. I hope they make it to where they're going okay. Those kids are so young. I would have been terrified to ride on top of a train at their age. Maybe if enough people see the pictures I'm taking and read the story I'm writing, things will get easier for immigrants in our country. Ugh, who am I kidding? We've had this problem for decades now, and no one is doing anything about it. In fact, it's only getting worse. Half the people think all these immigrants are criminals, and the rest don't take time to care. All I see are a lot of poor, scared people risking their lives for a chance at something better. I wonder why it's so hard for people to get that. Meanwhile, further down the train, Jorge, the boy in the middle looking up, hangs on for dear life with some friends he just met yesterday. He never realized before trying to ride La Bestia through Mexico just how fast it goes. Jorge is still in shock from witnessing a boy his age get sucked under the wheels of the train as he was trying to climb on. He thinks about how it could have easily been him under the train, and he shudders. Jorge thinks, I wonder how long until the next stop. I shouldn't have drank all that water at the last one, because now I have to pee. I can't leave my backpack for a second, because that is how I lost my ID and the last of my money when I fell asleep at another stop. I'm so stupid. Maybe I should have just listened to my older brother and joined his gang. At least then I would have money and could have eaten a regular meal today. One of the boys next to me said this is his third trip on the death train. He is determined to reach his dad in Los Estados Unidos, but he has already been sent back twice once he reached the border. ICE grabbed him and made him stay in a detention center until they decided whether to let him stay or go. He got mostly spoiled food to eat, and half the time, the heat didn't work there. After 6 weeks, they finally stuck him on a crowded bus back to Honduras. I wonder if that is what will happen to me. Hector is the man in the baseball cap and mustache. He is working as a coyote who is smuggling several teen boys across the border. Their families have paid him $5,000 each for the safe arrival of their children. Hector thinks to himself, this is going to be my last haul. The job pays better than any job I could find at home, but it is too risky. I have had too many close calls with the policia. I have 4 kids at home with one on the way. Who knows how my wife handles everything during the weeks I'm riding the train. At the last checkpoint, the Zetas charged me $100 per kid just so they wouldn't alert the immigration agents about us. I don't know how many more kids I can watch fall on these tracks or how many more women I can watch violated along this route. Besides, the extra money I make ends up going to all my relatives at home, who have far less than we do. Dios mío, how did I get myself into this mess? Hector and Jorge talk. Hector says, you got this, kid? You look kind of sick. You really need to eat something at the next stop. I can't have you passing out on me. Your dad paid me too much to have that happen. Jorge answers, yeah, I feel a little sick, but I'm okay. Don't worry, the sun is just really hot right now. Hector says, that Mexican sun through here is like hell. You'll get used to it after a while. I have some water if you need it. Thanks, said Jorge. The journey ends, and no one knows what fate awaits. Will the immigrants be detained by ICE or end up in a refugee center? Will they wait to be deported, or will they make it to their family in Los Estados Unidos?